Are you looking to buy a new full-size 3-row SUV? Well, this is the place to be because we have tested out all of them on the market. And this is a very big segment. It's also a segment that's changed a lot. Over half of these products have been redesigned or refreshed in just the last year. That's why we're going to go through today and rank them.
And these rankings aren't just going to be arbitrary. They're going to be based on the 10 most important categories to you, the full-size SUV shopper. We'll go through in each of those categories and rank them, and then we'll give you our objective winner. And then at the end, we'll give you our subjective winner based on our personal experience with all of them.
So after expert evaluation in all these categories, which one is the best full-size SUV? Well, let's go ahead and find out. Now, we spent countless hours testing out each of these products. We tested out the cargo capacity, the technology, and I think most importantly, we lived with these products as well and just kind of integrated them into day-to-day life. Based on that experience, we then spent about 5 hours developing the following categories and ranking them inside of these most important categories to you, the full-size SUV buyer. Number 1, premium cabin materials, luxury features, technology, powertrain and capability, drive experience, cargo space, second and third row, active safety features, reliability, and what do you get for $75,000, which is a common price that many people spend in this segment.
Now, in each of those categories, we'll rank them from 1 to 5, 1 being poor, 5 being exceptional for the segment. And I do want to point out that this is just for the mainstream full-size SUVs. We do actually have a luxury full-size 3-row as well, so if you'd like to check that out, hop on over to that video. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. All right, so starting off this list with the number 6 choice, that is the Toyota Sequoia. Now, this is going to be an SUV that has some highs and has some lows. You can probably see that on the screen right now with these scores. So overall, this vehicle is getting a 31.5 as far as its score. And like I said, there are some really good categories, and there's also some categories where it doesn't do so hot. So let's go ahead and start out with some of the good categories. Reliability and resale value, it gets a 5, which is the best possible rating. It's a Toyota after all. It has excellent resale value, as well as active safety features, a 4 in that category. Premium cabin materials, especially if you choose the capstone model, you're going to get a very nicely appointed cabin with semi-aniline leather. And then as far as other things where it doesn't score so highly, that would be cargo space and the second and third row. This is definitely going to be the smallest option on this list. The cargo space is only about 86 cubic feet, which is about 60 cubic feet less than some of the other options on this list. So if you're looking for that, I think you'll be a little disappointed. Also, what you get for under 75 grand, you're just going to get a limited trim level, which is on the lower end for that price point.
By the way, if any one of these individual categories is more important to you, you can go to carconfections.com and actually sort the list by that category to see how it shakes up the overall list. Again, you can find that at carconfections.com/vehicle rankings. Now let's move on to the next spot, and that's the number 5 spot, belonging to the Jeep Wagoneer. So our total score here is 32 points. And as you can see with some of these scores, we've got some really compelling things, especially up there at the top. So you notice one of the big categories, of course, is cargo space. That's why you buy such a big SUV. This does really, really well in that regard. We're looking at 130 cubic feet of space. Also, numbers-wise, this has an extremely large third row that's very comfortable to sit inside and enjoy, which is why it has a 5. Lots of features as well. And in terms of your powertrain, this has the best towing in the entire list. You're going to see today 10,000 pounds of towing with that Hurricane 6-cylinder, really strong motor on board. Weaker areas down at the bottom, reliability and resale value are definitely on the lower end, as well as the premium cabin materials aren't quite as good as some of the other things you'll see on the list.
If you're new here, we're brothers, and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We started young, and since then, we've reviewed over 2,000 cars at every price point.
No matter what you're looking for, from our long-term vehicle videos to our side-by-side comparisons, we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family.
Let's learn a lot and have some fun with all the latest cars.
And we're rolling on to the number 4 pick, which is the Nissan Armada. This is all new for 2025, and Nissan did a really great job with this all new model. We were certainly impressed after living with it actually multiple times. This model comes in at 36 points, so as you can see, the jump went quite a bit up with from the Wagoneer, and you'll see that reflected in the scores. It actually is a very consistent performer, so really there are no super low scores. The lowest one that I'm seeing on here is the cargo space, so it's not going to be the biggest option on this list. And I do want to point out, for cargo space, we're evaluating the long wheelbase version if that is offered. So the Nissan Armada does not offer a long wheelbase version, which means it tops out at 97 cubic feet, which is a disadvantage over a lot in this segment. However, the second and third rows are pretty good at a 3.5. The powertrain, it does have a twin turbo V6. That's standard equipment. It's pretty good, but not too many options. As far as some other kind of wild cards that it did really well in drive experience, it's now having an air suspension on board, which allows it to actually be one of the very best driving in this entire segment. Actually handles pretty good and has amazing ride quality in addition. And the premium cabin materials, it's based on the Nissan Patrol overseas, so it's a very solid feeling vehicle and has really upped the level of premium cabin materials that you're going to find. And the value, under $75,000, it gets a 4.5 because you're going to get the vast majority of features for under that price point.
All right, things are really heating up here. Let's go on to number 3, and that is the Ford Expedition, the all-new Ford Expedition. This is actually the reason why, well, this list is being published so late in the year, because the 2025 Expedition is just now reaching dealerships. Nevertheless, Ford did, save a really good product for this late introduction. And you can see in the scores there, we come to a total of 39, so really strong. And we've got some big numbers. So second and third row, 5. So that is an excellent score. Obviously, you have tons of space, tons of features throughout. It's extremely comfortable in every single row. Powertrain and capability, one of the interesting things is that its twin turbocharged V6 engine actually has the highest available power in the segment, and it also has excellent towing as well. When we're talking about technology, it's got that brand new 24-inch panoramic display up top, which is very impressive to look at. Not the most insane thing in terms of the actual functionality, but super impressive to look at, minus the fact that you don't get the head-up display, which is why the score could be a little higher in that category. And then also, of course, the luxury features. You're just absolutely spoiled with things like massage and vented seats and a really awesome audio system, actually the most speakers in this entire list of vehicles, as well as a Blue Cruise system for hands-free highway driving.
Yeah, we lived with the Expedition for multiple weeks and drove it over 1,000 miles, and I think we were very pleasantly surprised, and I think your family will be too as well. And by the way, if you notice the category of reliability and are curious as to how we get those figures, we'd encourage you to go to carconfections.com/reliability. Even though many of these models are just now entering the market, our reliability rankings consider the historic performance of a brand via several of the industry-leading reliability studies combined to give you a more holistic picture. Again, you can find our methodology at carconfections.com/reliability. All right, so it's time to move on to the number 2 pick, which is going to be the Chevy Tahoe and Suburban. I knew you knew it was going to be on this list. This is the best seller out there, and it comes in with the overall score, a very good 41 points. So we are looking at some very competitive offerings here. Now, where does it do well? Well, cargo space, it gets a perfect score of 5. This thing is absolutely massive, especially if you select the Suburban. Even the Tahoe is really big, but the Suburban has 60 more cubic feet of cargo space than the Sequoia. That's your fun fact, so nearly double. Second and third rows, those are going to be very spacious and comfortable, although you do not have a heated third row, which would have been a nice thing to have. The technology as well, it gets a perfect score of 5. For the refresh, which it got this year, you're getting a very nice technology experience. It's going to have Google built in, a large 17.7-inch main screen, as well as a digital gauge cluster. That's standard on every single model, and it works really well, easy to use as well. The drive experience, you're looking at an air suspension as well as magnetic ride control. Both of those things make ride quality really fantastic. As far as the luxury features, it actually gets just an average score of 3. And the reason for that is because it does not have massaging seats. You have to move to a different model to get that. It does not have very many seat adjustments at all. And you're going to top out at a Bose audio system that only has 10 speakers, which is certainly not the best one on this list, that's for sure. Active safety features, it has Super Cruise, which is fantastic for road tripping. I think that's one of the nicest features that this vehicle includes. Reliability and resale value, it also does well with a 4.5 in that category. And then it just gets an average score of 3 when it comes to your value for under $75,000 because it is an expensive choice. Actually, the fully loaded High Country we did a video on is $95,000. And by the way, if you're looking to buy any of the vehicles on this list that you've heard so far, or any new vehicle, we'd encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. Now, the reason you do that is because we have a tool on our website that will connect you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool for dealership negotiation. We even have a monthly payment tool, so if you want to check all of that out, you can find that in our video description, and there's also a pinned comment at the top of this video.
And now it's time for number 1, and that is the GMC Yukon. Our total score here is 42 points, which is, of course, just one above the Tahoe. They are related products, and in many ways, you can just think of the Yukon as basically the Tahoe elevated just a little bit more. You know, it sits right in between the Tahoe and the Escalade, and it keeps kind of some characteristics from the Escalade, which is why it is elevated just a little above it on our list. So you still got the same strong things, such as having just amazing cargo volume, so much space in the second and third row, so many features that you can have. Technology is really, really nice. The enhancement this year brought a 16.8-inch display to the center section. You've got all the things you want, a head-up display, all the goodies like that. The cabin, again, is going to be very Escalade, like lots of wood, lots of leather on all the surfaces that you're going to touch. You also have your Super Cruise system as well, and all the safety systems. Really, you know, the only areas where you can see the scores are a little lower. Powertrain, their options that they're offering on this are a little underpowered compared to some of the other things on this list, topping out at 420 horsepower from the 6.2 V8. Also, if we kind of move down there, you'll see reliability and resale value, 3.5, not too bad. And then the $75,000 mark, though. This is more expensive for sure than many of the things on the list. So you're going to have to get an elevation trim level if you want to stay under $75,000.
Well, that's going to wrap up our objective winner, but which one would we put in our driveway? Like we said, we have lived with every one of these SUVs for a long time. We've spent, a lot of time with them. Which one are we taking? Drew, why don't you kick us off with what you're going to put in your driveway?
My driveway, I'm going to do the Yukon, just like our objective winner. Like I said, I just really like the way it looks. I like the way it drives. I like pretty much everything about it. It's just, honestly, it looks more handsome to me than even the Escalade. It's a really, really nice SUV.
And you know what? I'm also going to agree with Drew on this one. I like the GMC Yukon the best on this list. And even if I was shopping at a lower price point and getting something like the elevation trim level, I think you'd be very pleasantly surprised with the amount of standard features you're going to get on just the elevation model. It has really a lot of the features that the fully loaded Tahoe has is kind of a standard feature on the GMC Yukon. So you might be surprised at what type of value you'll find on the Yukon. Now, as a runner-up, I really do like the Nissan Armada and the way it drives, but I think the GMC Yukon barely has it beat in my driveway. And guys, that's going to be where we leave off on this countdown list. I want to remind you once again, if you want to find the luxury alternatives in this full-size segment, we do already have that video live on the channel now. And we also have rankings on pretty much every category of vehicle. So if you're looking to shop in another segment, we probably have a countdown for it. You can find all of those at carconfections.com/vehicle rankings or on our YouTube channel. If you're already a fan and subscriber, thank you so much for your continued support. And if you're not already, I'd love to welcome you in. Please be a part of this family. I promise you won't regret it. We'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.